What is up, good people? Welcome back to Notes by Nokes, right here in segment 3. If you missed this in segment 2, I had my good friend Anthony Miller with XFL Board on the line with us, joining us this week. Me and him will be at Globe Life Park on Sunday to cover the Dallas Renegades versus the Houston Roughnecks. But I have another special guest on the line here in segment 3. It is Miss Myra Moore. She is an XFL Board contributor as well. How's it going, Myra?
It's going good. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I'm glad that you could join the show. I know it's kind of late where, I'm trying to get it all worked out and everything, but I definitely appreciate you for coming on, and it's going to be a good time.
Yes, because I have some words.
Well, audience, if you didn't know, Myra Moore is a, how can I say? She loves to lose wagers. We made
one bet, gosh darn it.
Hey, one wager takes the cake right there. It takes the cake. But we made a wager at the beginning of the season about my Dallas Renegades beating both of her teams, and my Dallas Renegades beat the LA Wildcats in week 2, and then went up to Seattle, just went up the Western Seaboard and beat the Seattle Dragons as well. So
barely.
A two-score touchdown game isn't barely, Myra. I hate to tell you that.
No, it's been a tough week. I mean, I love the XFL. I know it's a new league out there. Everybody's like, everybody has their own opinion, but I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love how the games are running. I just love it.
Well, I'm glad that you love it. I think all of us over at XFL Board are having a great time covering these teams, and it has definitely extended the football season for us. So we're having a great time covering the league. So, Myra, first question. Through 3 weeks of XFL action, who would you put as your second best team in the XFL?
Oh, my God. I feel like I'm cheating on Dragons, but my second best team is going to be DC Defenders. If we're talking even though they had a really bad, rough game yesterday, I'm still going to put them second with a close third of the Wildcats. The Wildcats shocked everybody, including myself. So first, it's going to be Roughnecks, and my power rankings: Roughnecks, DC Defenders, Wildcats, Renegades, Dragons, and then Guardians. Well, no, Dragons, Vipers, and then Guardians.
Such a sad day for Myra being a Wildcats fan. I got to stay to these questions, Myra. I would love to rag on your Dragons and your Wildcats for 15 minutes, but I'm going to stick to the agenda here. So, I'm sorry. Oh, that's the next question. So, you just mentioned the LA Wildcats. Did you see this blowout coming for the LA Wildcats, or for the DC Defenders getting blown out by the LA Wildcats?
No. Okay. So just going back to week 2 with all the drama, right? Everybody assumed it was like the QB drama was the Wildcats, especially with the firing, of one of their coaches, and then with Anthony Johnson leaving, and everybody's like, what's going on? There's internal strife. What's going on? Losing 2 games right off the bat, and then coming back last night shocked the crap out of me. I could not believe, I honestly believe, not only did I underestimate them, but everybody else did. And you can tell the DC Defenders underestimated them. They went in thinking, this is going to be an easy win.
I actually think the same. And that's one takeaway. Me and Anthony were kind of talking about that. In football, it's hard to overlook your opponent. You have to take it week by week. And I think I tweeted out early last week, and I said, from week to week, football changes the most.
Yeah.
So whenever you are playing in a game or you're playing football, you have to approach it every single week as the game being 0-0. Your record is 0-0.
Yes.
So, it looks like the DC Defenders were like, we're 2-0 and we're about to be 3-0, and then they got slapped.
That's exactly what they did. And without them having to come out and say that that's what they did, that's exactly what they did, because you could tell their offense was completely obliterated by Wildcats defense. They could not, for the life of them.
One.
So Cardell could not make a completion to save his life. If anything, he had 4 interceptions. I mean, 2 interceptions in the first quarter. I just couldn't. I don't know what happened. I was literally sitting there watching the TV wondering, like, what just happened? I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. And then, okay, so I'm going to harp a little bit on the Wildcats because McBride said something that really, and I believe it was McBride. Oh my God, I'm going to feel so bad if I'm quoting wrong. But when he said, when they interviewed him and he said to the camera, or basically to the fans, he was like, just stick with us, y'all. Stick with us. We're doing this for you. You could hear the love, the passion, just all the emotion in his statement. So that to me let me know that these men are not only invested, but they're invested in the team themselves, the fans. They're letting us know, like, look, this is who we are. This is what we're going to bring. Everybody doubted us, myself included. As much as I was supporting and rooting for Wildcats, I doubted them. I'm like, okay, we're going to have a losing team probably for the rest of this little season, which is fine, but I'll be there. They blew me away. Cardell, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay. You're good. You're good. Well, I think the same thing. I mean, when I looked at that game, I really walked away from it. And I was like, man, LA, once they got Josh Johnson back and once a few things started clicking, they look like the best team in the XFL. I mean, they were explosive. I mean, you see some of those runs. You see some of those passes. You see some of the plays that they executed on. They just look like the better or the best team in the XFL at that point. So, I mean, the LA Wildcats put it together completely in week 3. I think they're going to have a pretty decent week 4 as well. Now, let's talk about my team. Let's talk about the Dallas Renegades. So with the Dallas Renegades, they are the first team to win 2 road victories in the XFL. Now, when we talk about the second best team debate in this league, do you think because they won 2 road victories that they are closer or inching closer to being the second best team in the XFL?
No. Let me tell you why. I love you, Renegades, but let me tell you. You played the Wildcats. That wasn't a very good game. That really didn't show what kind of potential you have, right? You played the Dragons. Yeah, you guys, it was back and forth. But my Dragons kept up with you we have QB problems is what we have. They need to go ahead and just say, BJ Daniels, you're starting. Renegades are going to face the Roughnecks this weekend. This game will determine what they have and if they can be a top contender, the top 3 with DC Defenders, with Roughnecks, and now potentially because Wildcats came in and they put all the standings out of skew. Everybody's running, we had a firm idea of who the top 3 teams were. Now with the Wildcats playing the way they did last night, it's up for grabs. But I honestly believe Renegades have been keeping it under wrap, but their QB isn't consistent. So come Saturday, it's really going to be the Battle of Texas. And that's really going to determine where they stand. And if they lose this, and I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think they're going to win this one. I think Roughnecks are going to go in there. They're PJ Walker, Cam, they're going to go in there and they're going to lay it to them. And it's going to be downhill from there.
Well,
that's just my...
I understand. You're kind of biased because the Renegades beat your Wildcats and your Dragons. What are they, lizards now? They're not dragons. They're lizards. But no, I actually, really? I somewhat agree. I do think me and Anthony were talking earlier, and we believe that it's actually going to be a much closer game than many people think, actually in a shootout form. So I think, I wouldn't say that if they win this game, it would automatically propel them to being the second best team in the XFL because we seen them play the St. Louis Battlehawks and they weren't even that close. It was a good game, but the Battlehawks ran that game. They were in control of that game and they took control of that game at home. And then when you see,
and they showed the world their weaknesses. Yeah, and that's really what got me like, ooh, Renegades aren't as good. I mean, at that time they played not so great teams, right? At that point in time, and then when Battlehawks came out, you're right. They showed the world, like, when you have to really face a true contender, you're not up to par. So
So essentially, they're like my Dallas Cowboys in the NFL right now, if that's what you're telling me.
Jesus, the Cowboys. Okay, look. I don't know what the Cowboys need to do, but y'all need to figure it out. Like, you either go with Dak or you walk from Dak and you figure it out, because you guys can't touch my Niners. Just say, even with Jimmy G, but we're not talking about NFL.
Yeah, we're keeping it strictly XFL on this show. You have tuned into a football show, Notes by Notes, right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. Myra Moore joining me from XFLboard.com. You are listening to a football show, but we are talking about the XFL here. So last question, Myra, last question. So when you look at the Guardians, because in my opinion, I feel like the Tampa Bay Vipers actually are pretty decent at quarterback. They just need to commit to one quarterback and stick with that quarterback. Flowers. I agree.
That's 100%. Tampa, I love you guys. I really do. I'm actually supporting all our XFL teams. Tampa, stick with Flowers. Stop it. You guys are defeating your own. You're defeating yourselves. You can see when your offense is syncing with your quarterback and they're flowing beautiful with Flowers. And then you go and throw in the other guy. That sounds rude, but I don't care. And it's a mess.
Yeah.
Or, okay, you know what I've also noticed? And I don't, how do I say this and be politically correct? It's like they're using Flowers to get them to where they want, the yardage that they want, and then they bring in the other guy to try to do that touchdown. I may be wrong.
No, I mean, I can see that. I think
I may be looking into it a little bit too much, but I feel like they're using the guy, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think Trestman has like true commitment issues when it comes to Flowers, but with the New York Guardians, do you think they should go ahead and make a trade?
Oh my God, I've got some words for them Guardians.
Well, we got 2 minutes in the show, Myra. So.
Okay, I'll do this really quick. Where is your guys' dignity? What I saw last night, or no, not even last night. What I saw was a bunch of thugs running around with no home training. And I tweeted that exactly because I was so disgusted with y'all. Just, McGloin, you need to go ahead and sit your hiney down. And, okay, and I was totally pumping up Williams. I'm like, Williams can do it, he can do it. I think he folded under pressure. But when Luis Perez came out and made the only touchdown, that sold me.
Yep.
Go ahead and run with Luis. If he crumbled or for whatever, then go ahead and bring in Williams. McGloin needs to sit down. The problem is their QB. And I don't know what's going on with the coach. I don't know what's going on with, but you can tell there's strife. There's players fighting with each other internally. I can only imagine what's going on in their locker room. And it really, and people may not agree, but it ties back to when McGloin decided to roll not only his coaches, but start to roll certain members of his team under the bus on live camera.
Yep. I agree.
That was the beginning of the end.
I agree.
So, Guardians, they need to figure it out. They do need to do trades. What was his name? So I always want to call him Silverman, but Wilberman or Silverman. What was it?
Silverman.
I get he was frustrated, but he lost all control. He lost his sense. Like, there's guys that I talk to daily who would just want the one opportunity to be where these guys are and would appreciate it and act like they have some sort of sense. I don't even know what else to call it because I was so upset with them. And that was not the type of football that XFL is trying to portray. They want to show that it's a professional league, that they're serious. This is all about football. And being a football player, you have to learn self-control. Yes, there's testosterone filled, adrenaline's running, you're angry, but you still have to learn self-control. That is the number one key of being a football player.
For sure.
You know what, Guardians? Pat me up. I'm only 5 foot. Don't pat me up.
Oh my God. Well said by Myra Moore. Myra, let the audience know where they can find you on social media.
Okay, so I have two. My company, Moore_Football, or at Myra Moore 04. Follow me every week.
There you go, people. There you go. So that's my homie Myra Moore with XFL Board, More Football, and you can find all of her stuff on YouTube. Really good content. I actually complimented her on her content earlier before we hopped on the show, and she started making Wildcats jokes and stuff like that. So, we kind of got to ignore
and
that segment.
I will wear my Renegade stuff.
That's a good sport. There you go. Mrs. Myra Moore joining us right here on Notes by Nokes. And that concludes the show. Thank you guys for rocking with your boy right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. Once again, keep it locked right here on the Big Game Christian Sports Network. Coming up next is